Checker?
Yes.
Checker, are you going to stream this or just the SpyParty overlay?
Maybe I'll stream it. Hold on.
I don't know. I kind of like the SpyParty overlay. I mean, it really brings a new dynamic to the game.
You all okay? So basically, I've been playing this really awesome. Practice game, and I'm most of the way through it. And I'm going to shoot somebody. And here's what you see. You see this. This is the old results timeline and everything. It's cool. Everybody likes the results timeline, including the bug where the sound's not fading away correctly. So there you go. So this is all you can do. You can kind of look back. You can kind of see some timings and things like that, but not as educational as it could be. So now we will start this build updating and pray that it works. So and there's no way to get back to it, so I escaped out of there. So if I wanted to review what was going on in there, from the previous games or any previous games, I couldn't do that. There's no way to get back to that game. I can go back in and practice again, but there's no way to actually get back to that information once you escape out of that. Page, it's gone. So I mean, it's not actually gone. Some of it's written to disk, but in a way that was not really accessible. Bry Guy asks if replays are going to be raw files. Has anyone created a website to share them yet? Yeah, right now this is all local. And okay, so the build just went up, so the server should register in the next minute. Oh, hey, look, a build. And now I'm going to put my splash screen back before this update happens. So yes, there's going to be a replay database. All the replays are going to be sent up to a server for every game ever. So, and it'll be linkable from the web. So if you look at the leaderboard, you will just see I want to see the top of the leaderboard's replays against this person or whatever. So there'll be all kinds of cool stuff like that. And then these will dovetail directly into Spectation as well. Spectation being where you can watch. Like right now, anybody playing here. Anybody who is playing here, of course they all have faster internet than I do, and so they all just updated. But anybody playing here, you just had to kind of sit around and wait. But eventually you'll be able to join their games, and eventually will hopefully be pretty soon because the hard part is now done. All right. Let's update. Okay. So the good news is the build worked. Okay, so replays are recorded off practice mode and off, and so you can see the replays. There's a replays thing right here. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a kind of cool thing right off the bat. Hey, I have no replays recorded yet, but check this out. I'm going to go to this thread topic here, and I'm going to download this replay that I just put in there. And sure, I'll save it there. And there, download it because it's only 122K. And then I will show in folder, and here's the folder. And now check this out. I'm going to drag and drop it onto this menu and pop. There it is. So it just moved it out of that directory into the new into the replay directory and installed it. So now I can go in here, and here's the replay I just played. And so I can scroll through, forward, backward. You can watch the thing from multiple different camera angles. Here's what the spy was doing. This is actually not the one I just recorded. I recorded this one earlier. This one I posted to the thread. So you can see, this is interesting. So there's 5 different camera modes. So the sniper just highlighted a bunch of people. So I can go down here and kind of rewind and see where they're highlighting, where I'm over there. There's 5 different camera modes. They are the replay camera, the sniper camera, meaning I can see exactly what the sniper saw at any given time, where he zoomed and that kind of thing. There's interactive sniper cam, which is basically the same sniper camera you'd normally see, but you get to see the laser where the actual sniper was during the game. And it's got all kinds of. Part of the reason it took so long is because I'm a perfectionist, and so you can watch it fade out the laser as it goes by, so it doesn't get all nasty. But so let's see. There's replay spy camera, which shows what the spy sees the whole time. There's interactive spy camera, which basically means you have control of your rotation. There was a really terrible bug. And then there's free cam, which is basically, I was going to originally do I was going to originally do a Maya style free camera, and I realized it's just too insane. There's a Maya camera in the game that I use for debugging, but it's just too insane without training. It uses like all 3 mouse buttons, Alt. It's just nuts. And so I realized, oh, I'll just put a spy camera in, not attached to an actual character. Now, it actually passes around. That's how it stays in the level. Mouse wheel zooms in and out, as does the bracket keys. But you can get caught on things. It's got some slide in there, but like for here, I'm caught on the plant now, so I need to back around that. So it's a little bit clunky just because it is a spy camera, but you can zoom out and you can get a lot of. It's a pretty good free camera that everyone's already familiar with the controls. Because one of the problems with doing total free cameras is that the controls are arbitrary 6 degree of freedom camera are just a mess. So this, I figured everyone would already be used to it. You can switch between these with the numbers 1 through 5 or the tab button. One cool thing is if you're in a camera mode where there's no mouse cursor, holding the control key down releases your mouse cursor. So then you can scrub even in camera mode where it's normally got your mouse. All right, so this is cool because this looks like, rewinding in the game and whatnot. The level, it uses all the same rules for when the level goes alpha and everything. It's based on whether the spy is visible. So stuff like this will be adjustable depending on what we decide is the best for different modes. Right now, everything is visible, so you can't really play replays because even in sniper view, you can see exactly who the spy is. He's right there. Oh, there's the seduction target's heart. That was supposed to be the Valentine's Day. That was supposed to be the Valentine's Day Easter egg, for courtesy of our the illustrious Zero TKA. But of course, I missed Valentine's Day by 2 weeks. So, all right. So this is cool. Mouse wheel scrolls by. So space pauses as does clicking anywhere. Mouse wheel with the mouse visible scrolls by event in this view. Okay, so does period and comma, which is a normal keyframe scroll in most nonlinear editors. Let's see what else. It's kind of cool to scroll through. You can see, if you look up here, you can see the missions, and so you can kind of really quickly scroll through and see when things are getting checked off. There's the seduce coming up, and so I spent a ton of time getting all of this. Working with rewind and everything. Let's see if we can find. So there's there's the banana bread. Now this because this is a how many minute game So this is a long game because I added time, I think, in the middle of this as well. And so a per pixel drag here on the timeline is actually pretty far. So if you control drag not on the timeline, but you're holding control even if the mouse cursor is visible, and click anywhere, you get fine-grained less than 1/10 of a second drag. So you can see you can slow things down really carefully and really get a good view of what's going on. So let's for example, let's find, here's the I think, where did so I dropped the statue here. So let's go to the spy camera and see what I saw. Okay, so if I start playing from here, which is space or click anywhere, you can see the clank, and you can see there's the teleport of how the clank works, right? I think I swapped here as well. Yeah, so here's the swap. You can see and this is all arbitrarily rewindable right in here. So here's where the laser was. You can tab, because I'm paused, I can see exactly from both views. So if I control drag, so the sniper camera was moving, so that moves with, but you can see if you look over here, you can see the Maltese Falcon, and here we go, we're going to go past the statue swap, there it went. So see, you can even see the IK pop as the thing adjusts at the end, which is a bug. So you should be able to see at very fine detail almost anything about that's happening in the game that's that's visible to the sniper, or that's visible to either player. Now there's no AI running or anything like that. It's just recording. The way the implementation is, it's just recording the kind of the stuff that goes across the network, or the packets that go across the network, but I've augmented the packets that go across the network to have a fair amount of information in them. That's why, and I can always add more too. If we find a thing, like if we're trying to trace down a bug or something that needs some AI state in it or something like that, I can add that as kind of a debug channel in the replays pretty easily now. Okay, so this is cool, but you can't really see that wide of a window here. But this is what I was saying in the post that I just did. The results screen that I showed before I updated the build and the replays are totally unified. So this little button here, which I totally stole from YouTube's little in out like maximize minimize thing. Oh, there's the usual play pause thing. And the one cool thing is that like let's see where's the here. Because it pauses the sound correctly everything, so so you can totally where's that? Where did the drop go? All the sound rewinds right into the sound as well when you're playing. Basically, I was trying to find a sound. Where's the banana bread? And the there we go. So bread. See, I just got the bread part of bread. Okay, so here we go. Boom. Now we're back in this view. Okay, so this thing arbitrarily. Arbitrarily, and F11 does the same thing. Arbitrarily goes between what I call the results view and the replays view, but they're basically exactly the same thing. So when you're paused, you can scroll through this exactly like before. I've had to rearrange things, obviously. Clicking on here goes to that in any given camera view. So you want to see where the sniper was looking when you added time. He was looking over here, and the spy's way over there, right? You want to see like oh, and again, hold the control key down and it goes back to having control over the UI rather than the camera. So here's all those here's all of those highlights and lowlights. I'll just go through here as the sniper goes through and highlights and lowlights these people. When you're in playing mode, if you watch over here, when you're in playing mode, just like when you're in full screen, when the thing is playing, it keeps the current event that's playing or nearest on the screen. So it won't let you scroll arbitrarily when you're playing. You just pause and you can scroll back with the thing off the screen though. So it's got some things like that I mean, it's not exactly clear how best to do this kind of stuff as a UI, so I figure we'll get some experience with it first. I just did what seemed like the smartest thing at first. I really like the control, the fine level control. Oh, here's another thing. If you notice up here, there's spy and sniper. That's because, let's go back up here. Where did I add time? Boom, it was a green test. So let's go to the, here's the spy. Now watch. On a green watch check, so I start checking my watch here, and I get a green. That means that from this point onward, the timings will split. Until that's over, and so you can rewind back and forward through this. So now you can see what the sniper sees as the time, going half as slow, and what the spy sees as the time. As you see it back here, the spy sees the spy's at 3:15, and then it gets updated to 3:59, whereas the sniper just sees it slow down at 3:15, and you can see it scrolls through like that until they finally catch up. The spy timer finally catches up, which is basically 45 or a minute. It's a minute and a half later, but it's 45 seconds of dilated time, and then it joins back together. Similarly, you can see the end game thing. Here's the end game countdown. Sometimes it's easier to scrub when you've got the full screen because they're per pixel, or use the control scrubbing. One cool thing is that, like, if you look down here, I don't know if you can see this on the stream. I'm not sure how high res the stream is, but you can see the numbers are added in. Are in tenths of a second along the time slider. I call this the time slider, and I call this the timeline. Okay, so it says timeline here. So just to have names that we don't. So time slider and timeline. You can see that dragging, depending on your resolution of your monitor and whatnot, this looks like I'm dragging up 2/10 of a second. Each pixel looks like it's 2/10 of a second. But control dragging is not is pixel absolute with time. So everyone will control drag the same amount of time for the same amount of pixels, regardless of the resolution of your monitor, and it's less than 1/10 of a second. So you can scroll, you can scrub within. It looks like I have 2 or 3. Maybe 4 pixels. Well, more than that even. It looks like almost 10 pixels. It looks like a pixel is 1/100th of a second, or almost. I think it's a little less than that, or a little more than that. But you can see that you can get some, where dragging the timeline thumb directly is very fast. This is always going to be nice and slow for everybody, so you can get really fine-grained control. This will help us track down animation bugs too, like pops. Like you can easily see. Let's see, Where is Toby's? Okay, come here, Toby. Let's get you walking around. There we go. Now watch. There's a bug in Toby's animations that you can see it here. See how that pops? Watch his tray pop there. So that's going to be a much easier to fix and narrow down these kinds of bugs. That drives me crazy every time I see it, and I can't figure out what it is. It's something in the animation, so I just need to finally be driven crazy enough that it's high enough priority that I fix it. But you can see that makes it really easy to find that kind of stuff. It should be mostly correct. There's a couple places where it's not going to be exactly right. For example, because there's no time sync really between the players exactly. Let's see if we can find one. The highlights and lowlights and the mouse, the laser won't always be directly over the person it highlight or low lit. Let's see, is it there? So I'm using Control. Yes, it was there. Let's see the next one. Yep. If they're standing still, it's almost usually correct. But you'll sometimes find one where they get, see, like let's go over there with the free camera. It can get worse than this depending on how fast the sniper laser is moving. You see how it's not actually touching him when the low light happens there. There's until I get really good time sync in there, which I haven't done yet. It's only doing an approximate latency between the client and the server. So the client is the sniper, and the server is the spy. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna let me look at my list of. So let me see what else we've got to do here. Oh, a couple things. If you Control C here with no chat window up, as it says right here, it'll copy the full path of the replay to the clipboard. That way you can cut and paste and attach them to emails or to the forums and stuff really easily, because the path is kind of a wonky path, like you can see the. Okay, so let's see. Let me look. Let me see what else I am. Oh, so this has changed. Lobby menu. There's no longer just those hard-coded practice here, because there's replays now and practice here and choose room and stuff. I figured it was better just to make this the button to go to the menu. It's the same exact as the escape button. So there's no. You have to. You have to go here. Oh, settings-wise, there's settings for whether the laser in practice mode. Here, let's check that out real quick. So the laser AI, quote unquote, which is just this thing that scrolls the laser back and forth. You can watch if I go into settings. Bonk. So you can see it over here. You can see it over here. I pointed to the screen, which you can't actually see. You can see that there's no. This way, this allows you to not have the damn thing move on you all the time when you're trying to test something out. So now it's on. The laser scrolling back and forth is on by default in both spy and sniper practice starting, and there's no difference there. It's just controlled by this guy. Boom! There it starts up again. Okay, so ooh, it had a bug where it skipped. I need to turn on the other code for that. Okay, so it also I fixed a bunch of whole tiny things. Let me look at the release notes and make sure I'm not missing anything, and then I will answer questions in the thing. So since Twitch is really latent, I don't know if I should scrub back and look at questions or what. Let me. It's a bummer about the whole Twitch latency thing. All right. Let's see. Tab, camera, mouse wheel, drag and drop, mouse, auto pause. I think that's most of it. I mean, there's a ton of small, tiny little details, but I think that's most of the stuff. Is there any big fixes? It's mostly small fixes, except for the gray out menu thing should hopefully be fixed, and all the practice mode bugs. Tabbing should not screw things up, but let's test that. So tabbing used to, in practice mode, like I should have actually tested this before the build to make sure we had a repro, but basically in practice mode, if I did this, see now it comes right back and then you're still in the middle of the action test. So it should be totally solid now. No differences. So that should hopefully be the last of the practice mode weirdness. And then if I escape out of here and cancel this game, it still makes a replay for it. So you can see I have these two partial in-progress replays. Now, you have to understand that right now, because all the replays are saved locally, the in-progress replays are only for real games. For practice games, they're both sides, so this will be a full replay with events and everything, and knowing who the spy is, so you can see who the spy is. But in a real game, because it's not sending that information until the end of the game, a real game's in progress replay will only have half the game. So on your half and the other half, I mean, it'll have all of the animations and stuff like that, but it won't have all the information. Like it won't know who the spy is on the sniper side, for example, and it won't know. It won't know the highlights and lowlights on the spy side, for example. So, so in-progress games are marked in progress. And when the replay database is up, I'm not sure whether I'll make in-progress games available or how that'll work. Because sometimes people just bail out. It's not very useful. I mean, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to save them up on the server for bug fixing and stuff. But I don't think I'll mix up the database with them. I think it'll just be finalized games. All right, how are we going to do this Q&A wise with the Twitch latency so terrible? Let me see if TeamSpeak has any. Let me see if there's any questions in there. Hello.
Hello.
Great job.
I'm pretty excited about it. It's
Welcome to
pretty
the
cool.
Cool Kids Club.
Yes. Do you guys have any questions, since the latency in here is way better than in the Twitch latency?
Oh yeah. So Wodar asked a really good one about will we ever get NFL style yellow lines for replays that we can draw on the replay field?
It's actually it's a good question because they're not optimal right now for casting. Due to the fact that I expose, it's like that thread where I was like, oh man, there's just so many variables and stuff. What do I expose? And I just decided I'm going to expose everything on all camera views right now.
I disagree. I'm going to casting, and I think it'll be fine.
Okay, I'm hoping it'll be good enough for a start, and then when we get a little experience with it, it'll we'll know what to turn off. And then what I'll eventually do is make a settings screen that say, like, don't show me who the spy is, don't show me who the real double agent is, things like that.
Yeah, yeah. And also, don't show us the length of the game. Oh my gosh.
Or the timeline.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to have to make a list of things like that for casting that we're going to want to have settings for. But and
I
those
think the only thing I want to hide is the timeline off the bat.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting because in Spectation view, the way I'm going to do it is it's just going to add on to the end of the timeline. So in other words, like if you run it all the way up against the end and you're spectating, it'll be live. And if you rewind, you'll be able to scrub back and forth and see that again, and it'll still be accumulating all the stuff live at the end. So it should be pretty awesome for, like, hey, what just happened there? Let's go back and look at that really quick, or whatever.
Wait, live?
Right, so it's going to use the same, so spectation-wise, you're going to log onto somebody else's game, and it's going to basically use all the same UI and everything. I mean, the timeline will be stretching as it goes, right? And so it'll eventually just be the same thing. You can be able to see what's happening so far with whatever you want masked or whatever. And then if you just go to the end of the timeline, then you're watching what's happening as it comes across.
That sounds amazing.
Huh.
Yeah, so it should. I mean, I did all of this with the idea of replays and spectation. In the same way that I merged the results screen and the replay screen, I did all this with the idea that replays and spectation will all use the same code basically underneath. I mean, similar, mostly the same code. So I didn't want to do all this twice or 4 times. So I wanted to make it super powerful to be really flexible, and so that's why I want to have a single screen that basically says, okay, in this mode, when I maybe you have presets. I don't know. I mean, whatever. But basically, don't show me the missions completed. Don't show me the timeline. Just let me. But I'll scrub. I'll just have forward backward keys, or I'll just let it play in real time or whatever. Or show me everything like this.
So would you say that Spectation is probably the next likely update?
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to do the replays database, and I was thinking today that maybe the replays database and Spectation just happened at the same time. I was assuming I was going to do the replays database first, then Spectation. I don't know. I'll have to see. I might actually slip the gallery map in there just to get a little bit of fun, but not all. Yeah. So I might do the new map really quick, just because those are so quick to do. Just to spice it up a little bit, because I've been doing this internal code stuff for so long, but. I was kind of super happy with this whole split timer thing. That's another thing you don't want to see if you're watching. Like, you can't play, you couldn't use this to train as a sniper right now, right? Like, even if it was a, which you can imagine.
No, but going over mistakes is fine.
Yeah, no, for reviewing at the end of the game, I think it's going to be great for right now. Were there more questions?
Most of my questions are very serious, so I'll floor for everyone else.
I think that question number 1 was pretty important, Ron.
Oh yeah, what did you have for lunch? Why did it take so long?
I had a.
We were freaking out.
The lunch was actually the lunch was actually relatively quick. It's just that then I was like, oh, I should write the release notes first, and then it just takes me forever. I had to go back through and like.
I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh crap, he's gonna have dinner now. Like,
yeah, I know.
It was, but if you
a lot of great jokes.
If you want to know, it was.
When I'm done dinner, maybe I should do my taxes.
It was a banh mi sandwich. If you want to know, it's a Vietnamese sandwich. It was really yummy.
Those are sweet.
Chicken and
took me half an hour to eat it.
Yes, and then I came back and worked on the thing. All right, so wait, so are there more questions in the? Has anybody been watching? Okay, cool. Give me real questions.
Are you going to be tweaking the replays, or are you going to keep it as it is right now, and then start working on like Spectation and the database?
Well, I mean, if there's bugs, I'll obviously fix those. If people go like, oh, you know what? I mean, I spent a time. One of the reasons it took so long is because I spent so much time trying to get the little stuff working. Like, I don't know if you can notice, but like, if you guys are live in the game right now, like, there's so many tiny little details that no one will ever notice unless I point them out. So now I'm going to point them out so that I didn't waste weeks on this stuff. But like, so like, pause the replay. I'm doing it on the stream right now. You pause the replay, and it shows where, if you click down, it shows the thumb of the replay time slider, and it shows it to 1/10 of a second. And then it shows where you would, if you click down, what you'd go to, right? As you move the mouse around near it. But notice that as you go close to it, if you look at something like Vimeo, they just slide the new time behind the old time, and it looks totally ghetto. I bump it up against it. Keep the little preview timer moving. Do you see that? Do you see what I'm talking about?
I like it.
Awesome. Okay, so like
I spent like 2 weeks on that.
It's so full of stuff like that. So here's another example. If you I'm going to drag my time slider near a near.
Cut off.
Oh, sorry. I had to lift up the control key. I'm going to drag my time slider near an event. You see how the little box pops up with the events?
Yeah.
If you click there, no matter how close you are to the thumb or whatever, it prioritizes correctly and will go to exactly that time. So it'll be highlighted on the side.
Oh wow!
And so it's just like, even if they're all bunched together, the one you see is the one you will get. And just stuff like that just takes, when you're programming, like stuff like that just takes like days to get that little stuff. First off, you have to notice it, right? Pausing the time, pausing the sounds. I had to redo the entire way the sounds work. And the way there's just so many things like that in there that
I do have one little question.
Yeah, no, real questions are good.
This is actually gonna. it's a real
I've had a question for 10 minutes, but you can go ahead.
All right, you cue them up.
Sorry. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't want to. This sounds mean because you're trying to get it so precise down to the second and everything. But it occurs to me that I did a quick test, and when you like do something like jump to a bug event, you actually miss the bug because it registers the end of it.
Right. So there are a bunch of.
Build in a little.
Yeah. Well, so if you notice, what you want to do is. So I'm going to do it on mine with the statue swap. So not all events have started and then do it, and I need to add those. So this will be a good way to find all of the events that I forgot. So remember how when we were looking? Remember how we were looking with there have been a few cases where you look at the timeline and you'd be like, wait, I didn't understand how this happened. It's because there was no start event or no end event. It fired at the beginning or the end. Were you going to ask, does the bugging have that?
Well, I was gonna ask, is there gonna be, like, for bug in particular, if you click on bug on the left, would there be like a half-second,
well, so look at
jumping you back for like a DVD?
No, but because look at actually bug actually does this. I don't know if it does for conversation, but I did a walking bug. So you see right before that event is begin planting bug while walking.
Okay, I did a standing planting bug, and if you do it that way, you actually miss the bug itself.
Yeah. So I should start what that is we should have a thread of bugs. We should have a bug thread for events that need I'm initiating the thing, not it's completing. And then I'll just add those will be trivial to add, and it'll just automatically just fix.
Okay.
It won't fix old replays, but any new replays will have that information in there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a question, but Scientist just brought up a great point in the Twitch
Yeah.
chat. He said, make the event boxes the same color as the events in the timeline.
Oh, you mean color the blue and yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, totally. So
Well, I like that you would be able to look down and see like, oh, here's a big thing of blue. This is
yeah,
all the
totally.
ones.
No, that's a perfect idea. That's exactly why. Yeah, I mean, I tried to catch all of those myself, and it's just impossible, right? So that's genius. Perfect. Awesome. Yes, exactly.
I have a question. for you,
Let me make a note for that really quick. Hold on.
Okay. I have a couple questions for you.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. I mean, the latency in TeamSpeak is milliseconds, so it's better to answer questions here. Somebody else would be watching. If somebody could scroll back through the Twitch chat and get all the good questions there, that would help me, so I can just continue answering them.
We're kind of just asking them right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm looking for anything that anyone says, but the only question so far from the chat is that, and also someone asked if you were the only programmer, and we answered that.
Also, no
Okay.
TPP.
We all
Yeah.
know Zero does
Twitch
all the
plays
work.
We ignored that.
Lied
Did
anyway.
Twitch want to know what I had for lunch? Because that seemed like an important question.
We all.
I think everyone wanted to know what you had for
Yeah.
lunch. And, we're happy to.
All right, hold on one second. Let me.
We'll know what to give you at PAX.
Sorry, just making a note here, and my editor crashed, so I'm restarting it.
Oh, I know what this is missing.
Don't say
you're,
red
you're
flags.
live on stream, so careful.
Easy.
No. It's just that I really wish that there was a mute button so that I didn't have to listen to.
Yeah, you want to hear my list of
Oh,
things
yeah.
you want to hear the list of things I cut back and forth? Hold on a second. I'll read that off after I write this note. I just had to restart my editor.
Mute
Hold
has
on.
to been one because it was so obvious.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna put a button on there. Hold on one second.
So how much of
Don't
like the
forget
YouTube?
that Sills had questions.
How much of the this is one of my questions. How much of the YouTube video player do you think you could nick before you got sued?
As far as I know, all I stole was the little full screen thing because I looked around and I was like, it was the best one. But except for it's not really full screen and windowed. My thing's not really full screen and windowed. It's like embedded, and I started to try and draw like a little thing, and I was like, stop, just stop.
I'm so
Oh,
happy
you
that's
know-
embedded.
There are free icon
do
fonts
actually
that
have a
mimic
question.
it, so you're covered.
Yes. Okay, wait. Hold on.
Zero
Let me,
asks in the chat.
yes.
Zero asks in the chat if replays are backwards compatible. I'm not entirely sure what he means.
It's
I
a very
think
good
that's the
question.
joke.
Basically, as I update the game, I mean, it's a really good question. As I update the game, will the replays break? And no, they're all version. I mean, no, unless I do something
okay.
terribly bad. So hopefully, all
stay
replays
full
ever
TF2.
will just continue working. You won't get new things like when I add new events; they won't suddenly appear in old replays, and old builds
Yeah.
won't play new replays. But new builds should always play old replays. Hopefully.
Okay.
In theory.
Yes, I mean unless I break something, either I break something or I break either on purpose. I break something on accident or on purpose. Sometimes, I mean, accident happens and I'll just fix that. On purpose happens when you're like, okay, supporting this old way that this used to work is just too much work, so we're flushing all of these. But I don't want to do that now. That's why that's one of the reasons I spent so much time getting it all right. Because once we get this people posting these things, you want those to live forever.
Yep.
I don't know about new art versus old art, but I mean the new art went in pretty clean with the old art, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, I haven't had to change much to make the new art work that would break the old art. It'll just add more stuff. So hopefully old art will continue working too.
I wanted to know if in-game chat will translate over to replays.
No, I made
good
I decided not to store chat because I figured people often use the game as like a little chat client for chatting with their friends. So there's not a lot of information you don't want shared in terms of the gameplay, but maybe in the chat. So I don't store any chat or anything like that. It's all on the server. I log it all
that's a
for
good idea.
I log it all for
Yeah, I agree.
for me, but just in case someone's a jerk or something like that. But I don't want it in the replays at all.
I do have a question I know KCM would want me to ask if he were here.
Okay.
I think a few players have mentioned this to me. They're a little freaked out about the idea that the games will be public and saved, and that there won't be an option to hide them.
Yeah, I mean, initially that's what I want to do.
A tough question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we talked about this in the forums a little bit. I like the idea of having this database always there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think it's really valuable, but at the same time, I can totally see. I mean, I don't think there's like privacy concerns in the sense that like my play style, will, get me sued or something like that. But definitely from a strategic standpoint, like being able to practice things, which was his concern. Now, practice mode replays will not get uploaded. Only gameplay replays, peer-to-peer replays. So you can practice all you want in practice mode, but if you're practicing with somebody like training, currently those will be uploaded. And I don't know. We'll have to play it by ear. I mean, there is no replay database yet, so right now it's totally private, unless you choose to upload them to forums. But in the long run, I'd love it if just every single game was uploaded. But we need to figure out a way to make people comfortable.